The basic FlipBooKit comes with an animation from Edward Muybridge's Horse Studies. A number of other artists' animations are available to purchase on the FlipBooKit website, but I'm going to show you how to make your own custom flip cards. There are a number of ways this can be done, including using videos, stop motion, and handmade illustrations. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to make videos with a camera or phone, edit the video down, use the Maker tool on the website to process and choose the frames you want, and put it all together using printable labels and blank cards available from FlipBooKit. If you've seen many videos on Vine, you're probably familiar with looping videos. Any video can be repeated, but there are a few things to keep in mind if you want it to appear seamless. Think of a video loop as a circle. By the end, everything should be back as it was in the beginning. In this loop, a person moving in a circle ends in the same location and body position as at the start. Another possible loop point is an empty scene, where you enter and exit during the loop. Other examples of videos that will work well for this include doing a repeated motion like a dance, moving from one side of the screen to the other, or falling down and standing up again. It's a good idea to make a quick plan of what you want to make, especially if it's going to be stop motion or illustrated. The final outcome will be 4 by 3 1/3 inches, which is big enough for some detail, but make sure the movement isn't too subtle. You'll also notice that there's a small gap between the top and bottom cards. Because of the way this machine works, movement in the center area won't show up as well, so you want to make sure that most of your activity takes place in the top or bottom of the frame as opposed to the middle. One of the most important things you'll need is a tripod to keep your camera still while shooting. There are a variety of sizes and styles available without having to pay an arm and a leg. It is also possible to make your own from whatever you have on hand. You can create a stand for your camera phone out of cardboard, books, rubber bands, tape, just about anything. I've linked to a few good tutorials of homemade camera stands in the instructable for this video, or you can make a simple stand with slots like this one out of cardboard. The important thing is to make sure your camera or phone is sturdy. If doing a small light stand like this one, it's a good idea to secure it before you start shooting. I'll tape this one down. This simple, inexpensive stand meets all of our requirements. The slots are tight enough to hold the phone in place, it doesn't block the camera, and it still lets you access the screen. Set up your camera in a clear area with a solid backdrop. You might put it on top of a table or stack of books. Tripods with bendy legs are good for wrapping around poles or other sturdy items that don't have a flat surface. You'll want to think about framing when you're setting up. If you will be walking onto the camera, where will you be able to walk in the room and still be in the shot? It can make things much easier if you put tape on the floor that marks the boundaries of your camera's view. If you're doing this full size, 2 people make this task easier. One directs from behind the camera, the other puts down the tape and ensures that the frame is still the right size for a person. Another important thing is good lighting. Shooting in a well-lit room will get you far, and a couple lamps can give you plenty of additional light right where you want it. For making printed flipbook cards, we definitely want to have a lot of light and contrast. A dingy, low-contrast video will make for an animation that is really hard to see. If you are helping others who are in front of the camera, make sure to coach them. Remind them to pay attention to the frame since they won't be able to see the camera. And it can be helpful to make additional tape marks on the floor if they want to return to the same place. It takes a little time to start and to stop a movement, so especially if your action is a repeated motion like dancing or moving in a circle, it's a good idea to perform it several times in a row. The continuity will help the loop appear seamless. I'll explain this further in the next step. What's more, it will give you a variety of options. It's easier to shoot several versions the first time than to set up again and reshoot. You might have a video editing application on your computer already. There are also online video editors and plenty of options for your mobile device. Load your video and then look for the loop that you want. Some video editors have a looping playback option, which can be helpful in identifying a smooth loop. You'll want to select between 3 to 7 seconds. The Maker tool will pull out the correct number of frames for your FlipBooKit from any length video, so focus more on capturing just the right clip. Trim the video down to exactly the part you want. If you're trying for a smooth loop of a continuous motion, this is where filming the motion several times in a row comes in handy. It's a good idea to select start and end points that are in the middle of an already started movement. You can adjust the end until you find a frame that looks just like the first one. Save or copy the video to a new file and export it. Go to the FlipBooKit website at flipbookit.com and navigate to the Maker tool. From here, you have a few options. First thing to do if you're uploading a video is to click or drag your edited file on the gray Upload Video box. It can take a little time to upload and process depending on your connection and the load on the server. For my animation, it took a few minutes. You're seeing it high speed here. When it's finished processing, you'll see a low-resolution preview. Don't worry, the final images will look much nicer. Play it back to see how it looks. You can fiddle with the video you're uploading if you need to. Or, if you don't like the frames it shows, you can tell the tool to retry and grab some new ones. If everything looks the way you want it, click the button to create your printable template. It will generate a PDF that you can download. You may notice that the images look a little strange in the PDFs, with the tops and bottoms not matching. This is normal. I'll show you why it does this in a few steps. If you're happy with the images that the Maker tool chose, you can download the document to print. If you'd like to play with the images, you can download your animation as individual frames and edit them in your software of choice. The Maker tool will give you a zip file that contains 24 JPEGs. You'll notice that they are the original frames, not the formatted, seemingly misaligned ones that appear in the printable template. When we re-upload them, it will take care of that formatting for us on the edited images. In this case, I'm going into Photoshop to edit out the wire my figure hangs on, so that it appears it's flying without support. I'm doing this with all of the images that I have that include that wire. Perhaps you'd like to change the colors, apply filters, add text. You can make it sepia to have an old-fashioned look to it. You can draw on it. See what other ideas you can come up with. You can then drag all the edited images to the Upload 24 Frames box on the Maker tool, and it will create a version that is ready to print onto the labels. Once again, this can take some time. Grab a cup of coffee, watch a kitten video, or put on music and dance around for a few minutes. You don't have to watch a bar go across the screen, galloping horse or no. Now the preview shows me an updated version of the animation, and I can see that my figure no longer shows the attached wire. When you're happy, click Looks Great. Once again, it'll show you the PDF, which you can preview and download when it's ready to go. Load the labels into a printer and print the PDF you downloaded from the web tool. It's a good idea to print some test pages on regular paper so you can check the alignment against the label sheet. If you don't have access to a printer, or if you'd like higher quality than your printer can provide, you can always take your file to a copy shop or office supply store and have them print it for you. If you don't have a color printer, you can even print it in black and white and color the images after you've printed them. Now it's time to attach your printed labels to the cards. I mentioned before that this misalignment of the top and bottom of these images is normal. This is because each label goes onto both sides of a single card. The top and bottom halves of each picture actually belong to different frames. It can be a little difficult to align these labels evenly if you peel them all the way off, so I'll show you a method that makes it a bit easier. First, peel the bottom half of a label from the backing and fold it up to meet the upper edge of the label. We're simply folding it in half with the sticky side out and giving it a nice crease. Don't take the top part of the label off the backing yet. Next, take a card and align the edge right next to your crease, and align the sides of the card to match the sides of where you pulled up the label. Hold the card in place with one hand and use the other to smooth the folded part of the label onto the card. Next, peel the rest of the label off, flip it so that the sticky side is up. Keeping the edge pressed to the table, hinge the card down until it meets the other side of the label and smooth it in place. The trick for this method is making sure you place your card precisely before folding the label down, right against the crease, and paying attention to aligning the sides using the backing as a guide. It can take a little practice to get it right, but it will give you consistently placed labels, which will give you a better animation in your FlipBooKit. The ideal is to have the images completely centered on your labels, but if your printer printed close to the images but not completely aligned with the label sheet, don't worry too much. The eye is forgiving. You still want to make sure that when you fold your labels in half to attach them, you line the bottom edge of the label up with the top of the label, not the top of a slightly off image. If you wind up with any wrinkles, just run your finger over it until it smooths out. You should wind up with 24 cards with your printed labels on them. Make sure that they're all in order. Next, we're going to insert the cards into the spindle holes. If you've watched my assembly video, you might have made these marks on your spindles, which are made next to every 6th hole and help you put your cards in straight. Go ahead and do it the same way. Put in the first card, flip it down, put in the second card, flip it down, and continue until all of your cards in. Make sure you don't miss any holes. And there we are, a custom animated FlipBooKit. Since stop motion is such fun and a great tool for education, there are a lot of good applications out there for doing stop motion specifically, with features like ghosting the previous image and previewing your existing animation. Make sure to check out FlipBooKit's Instagram page to see a ton of animations that others have done and to get some more inspiration. And of course, make sure you share your creations. As always, check this video's Instructable page for more details, links to tools I've mentioned, and some other resources you might find helpful. Have fun, and thanks for watching.